What is good? What is good? What is up, everybody? Kaz back again with some a bit more urgent Avengers news. As you can see, I got Miller's latest article pulled up. It just dropped just a couple minutes ago. But shout out to everybody who's in chat right now. Shout out to everybody who took time out this Friday to come hang out. And as always, I will tell you guys exactly what's said and how exactly we should process this. So, for the people who are ready to run off the cliff, I'll try to balance things out as best I can. But, as always, we're just, objective and straight up over here. So it's like I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna be objective with you, but I will not oversell anything, and I will, give you, just the facts as they are. And again, bear in mind, this is not official news. This isn't official. Miller is not an official source for the game. Mr. O State with the sub. Thank you for becoming an Avenger. But again, shout out to everybody in chat. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure to drop a like. It definitely helps support the channel. Before we get rolling, as always, you guys, I'll do the shout outs and all of that stuff. But I know the one is not clickbait. So this isn't me, baiting you guys or overselling anything or anything like that. Marvel's Avengers has disassembled. That is the article. I have read the article, so I know what the news consists of, and I'll be going over that with you guys here on stream. So I'm gonna give people a chance to kind of fill in a little bit, and we'll break it down. We'll go piece by piece and talk about what this means for the game and how things could potentially play out. Again, Miller isn't an official source, so this isn't the official statement of Marvel's Avengers is done. Something like that can only come from the studio themselves, but he does have sources within the studio, as he's proven, which is why I'm giving this a certain amount of credibility that I wouldn't if this was like CBR or anybody else just randomly throwing an article together. But for the people who are skeptic and are like, hey, I won't believe it until it's official, I encourage that. I'm just telling you the information as it comes to me, as it's put out there. Miller just put this article together. I told you guys in yesterday's stream, we're going to be getting hit with some information, both official and unofficial. We got a new patch update right around the corner. That's going to be just it's a small fix. It's a small fix, but as always with the data miners, they find more things behind the scenes. So when I tell you guys we're going to be hearing things on the back end, and as these weeks ramp up, we're going to hear more and see more. I was telling you that for a reason. So me and Miller talk. We're that's someone I consider a friend. So it's like I knew he was covering. He was doing work to uncover a new story or work a new story angle. And as though I tried to give you guys a heads up as much as possible, I didn't know what the story itself would consist of. I didn't know the actual details or the full details. I can deduce certain things based on context clues, based on what's currently going on around the game in general. But stuff like this, certain things I don't have the same sources as him, so I don't know exactly what's going to be in there. But with all of that said, before we get any further into the stream, again, thank you guys for rolling through. Dropping a like definitely helps support the channel, but I do want to get into some shout outs, and like I said, we'll take this as it is. So we will kind of just don't get too high, don't get too low. We'll break down and see exactly what's going on, what's being said, and how we should interpret that. But Corey Harris, thank you for coming through. Shine Gaming Videos, thank you for coming through. Scott Preacher Man, what's up, bro? Dylan Silver, what's up? What's happening right now? We're about to break it all down. I got you covered. Mandalorian Martin, what's up? Tim Threat, Comic Geek, what up? Man, forgive my throat, guys. It's you know how it is around wintertime and all of that stuff. But Shadow Widow, James Gibbs, Terrence Smalls, Phoenix 443. Brandon Washington, Richard Lewis, please fight back, long live Marvel's Avengers game. Hey, I've done my share of fighting for this game. I have tried to be as positive and helpful with just communicating what we the community want to see in the game, and that there is a community that still wants a future for this game. But it's certain things, like if things have progressed to a certain point, then there's literally not much anybody can do. But Shadow Widow, yeah, I called you out already. ISO Storm, what's up? Z Tankin, Luke Walker, Capte, what's good, bro? Nicholas Martinez, Lila, Sham with no wow. Sham with no wow, bro. That's a funny name. I like that. NBA Dreams, Christopher Rogers, Loran, Papa Beans. I feel like I'm catching everybody. I feel like I got everybody. I got more people filling in as we come. Who's your baby? What's up? J Dog, the boy. What's good? Calvin Cooper, Karen O'Brien, um, Dacus Vibes, Brownstone, Mr. T, P Dubs, Fox, Sean Sampson. What is up, everybody? And if I haven't shouted you out, or if I missed you, just add me in the chat. I'll definitely, give you a shout out because I appreciate you being here and rocking with me. And like I said, guys, we are gonna hop straight into this because this is big news coming from Miller. If it was anybody else, if it was any other source other than an official source, I would not have a whole stream going right now, and I wouldn't give this the credibility that I am. But yeah, Ghoul Fiore, this does suck if this is ultimately what things pan out. I we'll break down. We'll break it all down. We will break it all down. So let's take it from the top. Marvel's Avengers has never had a particularly easy time in the press. The ill-fated licensed looter from Tomb Raider developer Crystal Dynamics has seen headlines ranging from Marvel's Avengers no longer has a roadmap coming to Marvel's Avengers update leaks your IP address since launching back in September 2020. The strength of the Marvel brand did little to turn the tides in Avengers' favor, and criticism that arose during the title's closed beta continued on throughout its lifespan, namely a lack of content, an overabundance of game-breaking bugs, and a community left feeling abandoned by the developer's sparse communications. This all came to a head in a report here at Exupitor last December that revealed the end was in sight and that preparations were being made to sunset the title in 2023. Since then, it would seem the situation has evolved. So he gives a brief recap of recent events with the game. He references his article that dropped back in December on the 7th, which again we covered that here on the channel. This sounds like an IGN article. Hey, he's going full journalist, so it's like you gotta add a bit of flair and personality to it. So hey, shout out to him that he's trying to break into circles outside of just Avengers coverage. Like hopefully this opens more opportunities for him in the future. So it's like I respect it. But yeah, see, he has definitely separated himself from being viewed as just a typical data miner. He's definitely he's trying to turn into a full blown journalist, and it's like I respect it. Brian Wagner's departure. So as I covered this a couple days ago, in a recent video where I was telling you guys that they got a new website, but at the same time, they also appear to distance themselves from Brian Wagner, who also distanced himself from the studio. So it's like he took down everything relating to them. What's up, Winter Soldier? Appreciate that. He took down everything relating to Avengers and Crystal Dynamics from his Twitter. He removed all of those posts or anything like that, and the studio unfollowed him as well. And the optics of that suggest that yes, there was a mutual parting of ways, or a parting of way, whether it was mutual or not. That remained to be seen, but it didn't look like he was going to be a part of their future plans moving forward, which Miller touched on in his latest article, or his first article, where he announced that how the studio was planning to handle the controversy surrounding Brian, and now it appears that he is officially removed from the project. He says, sources tell me that while plans to end support for Marvel's Avengers did initially stretch to the back half of 2023, these have quickened following the recent departure of lead developer Brian Wagner. Crystal Dynamics issued a public dressing down to Wagner for a series of unearthed racist tweets this past November, stating that he will no longer be a studio spokesperson or communicating about studio projects. Disappearing muzzling lasted until late last week when Wagner removed all mention of Avengers from his social media profiles and unfollowed the game's official accounts. Sources say that Wagner was indeed let go and that he will not be replaced on the increasingly small team of developers still working on Avengers, with most already doing double duty on one of the studio's other projects. The remaining talent are expected to be moved full time to Crystal Dynamics' new Tomb Raider title under Amazon Games, which I am told is well into full scale development and the subject of mounting pressure in the lead up to a reveal later this year. So, again, this touches on something else that I was telling you guys, that production on Tomb Raider is ramping up, and for anyone new to the studio or unfamiliar with this studio, Tomb Raider is their bread and butter. Like, that's where they really started to make a real name for themselves and stand out in the industry with their remakes of the Tomb Raider games. And they've been planning to get another Tomb Raider launched on current gen for years, and they're finally at the place where development on that is really starting to ramp up. And unfortunately, as I've reported, early last year, a lot of the lead producers and developers for Avengers were being pulled over to that project. They started off kind of doing double shifts, so they're working on Avengers and Tomb Raider until a replacement could be found. They had a really hard time replacing those people, so ultimately people were moving. That work gets shifted over to the remaining people on the project, and then we're just pulling more and more people as we go. With obviously now the plan being, once Avengers wraps up, all of those members on that were working on Avengers will fully move over to Tomb Raider. And while it's good for the developers to have some sense of job security, so you're not worried about what happens to your job once Avengers loses development or anything. And what's up to everybody in chat who just popped in? I'll do another round of shout outs and address everybody once we get through this full article. But I definitely appreciate you guys being here. And if you haven't already, make sure to smash that like and drop a drop a comment if you want to share your thoughts and all of that. We'll get into all of this. But yeah, so Brian, according to sources close to the project, is no longer a part of the project. They moved forward and they don't have any plans to replace him. And that's clearly, writing on the wall that things are wrapping up. Like, you can't afford to lose leads on a already struggling project. And when you have no intention on replacing them, as I told you guys in my most recent video, that's it. Maybe you have faith. You could have had faith in someone else being able to step up, but more than likely, you're like, okay, well, we don't need a lead to wrap this up. We can wrap up what's left without having a lead systems designer. He's not integral for doing what we need to do to get this thing into the dock, because we're clearly docking soon. We're not this isn't going to go on forever or anything like that. And it's like it sucks, but that just seems to be where they are. I expected firing when the Embracer Group purchased CD. Like I said, Embracer is more of an umbrella company, so they don't come in and take over your day to day. They don't micromanage your management team or anything like that. They look at the potential of your studio. They look at the potential of your IPs, and that's what they invest in. They're investing in the future, not so much your day to day. So how you handle your day to day, they trust you to figure that stuff out. But as far as managing stuff like problematic leadership or anything with Avengers, that is not their concern. You have a whole studio that's dedicated to dealing with that, and it's your job to deal with that. You have a CEO, you have all kind of stuff all kind of things that are in place to mediate and manage that, and that's not their job. So it's like I had no expectations of them coming in overhauling their operation or anything like that. All right, so how it ends. According to sources at Crystal Dynamics, the announcement that Avengers is ceasing development could come as early as next week. The exit strategy includes a series of changes to the game's various systems, namely a removal of artificial time gating and an overhaul to the available cosmetic microtransactions. Now, removal of time gating, obviously, that's a big thing. That's what people have been asking for. And, if you're not supporting the game, that only makes sense, because you're not going to be doing resets every week anymore, I would imagine. So there's no need to have time gating in place. So if you want to raid and, do OLTs and all that stuff, you'll get the full round of rewards every time, going forward. Miller is a clickbaiter. I mean, when he hits, he hits. So when he told you that Winter Soldier was the next hero, that wasn't bait. That was a fact. When he said Jane Foster was coming, that was a fact. He's hit more than he misses. So it's like, like I said, if you don't want to believe the news, by all means, I'm encouraging you to hold any conclusions. Don't draw any conclusions until you get official news. If you only want to believe things that come from official news, take it from the official news sources. And if they corroborate this, or if they contradict this, we're going to cover it here on the channel as well. So everybody who wants Avengers to stick around, we're hoping for a miracle. We're hoping for something to contradict this at some point. Miller himself will be okay with being contradicted on this, because ultimately he doesn't want the game to shut down. He's just telling you what he's hearing. But I understand how you feel either way. I'm also told that the game will remain available for sale digitally until at least September, and that efforts are being made to keep the game playable for existing owners as long as possible. Outside of these changes and any subsequent bug fixes, the final regularly scheduled update is an upgrade to player traversal. Sources tell me that this should bring the entire roster's mobility in line with its most recent addition, resolving the long-standing complaint that heroes like Captain America and Hulk feel sluggish when compared to the game's other playable characters. So, again, touching on stuff that we have talked about recently and stuff that we talked about in yesterday's stream. The traversal update has been worked on. I know they haven't said anything since like a couple months on traversal specifically, and since Brian stopped communicating with the community about what the team's moves and plans were. But I have heard recently that plans for a traversal were moving forward, and that just giving a general idea of what some of those changes are going to include and look like. Those rumors have been kind of ramping up in recent weeks. Man, I apologize, guys. Dry throat, I guess. But how the game only being sold up until around September. That's around the time they're rumored to their lease. They have to negotiate the lease and licensing and everything around that time. So here in September, being the last of the time that they'll have available to actually sell the game digitally, isn't too surprising. But again, we don't know. We don't know officially until they come forward with an official statement. Alucard with the sub, thank you for becoming an Avenger. Where was I? Right, so the game is digital, and then efforts are being made to keep the game playable for existing owners as long as possible. So as I told you guys, because the way the servers are set up, it's on player side, you'll be able to still play the game, even if they stop support. So if they're no longer updating, you'll still be able to log in and play the game, match with friends and things like that. Well after the release, they've already taken stuff like that into consideration. They have, I've heard specifically that they are, concerned about your concerns about skins that you've invested in and everything like that. So they have you covered on stuff like that in the event that the game shut down. And these conversations were long before Miller's article or anything like that. I've been hearing that consistently from multiple developers long before any news of the game actually sunsetting or shutting down even came to the forefront. They have maintained that they care about players still being able to play the game. They care about players having access to the things they purchase and things like that. So they are going to hold you down when it comes to stuff like that. And that, again, I've heard that consistently well before this game even began to approach the end in the fashion that we're seeing now. But sources tell them that this should bring the entire roster's mobility in line with the most recent addition, resolving the long-standing complaint that heroes like Captain America and Hulk feel sluggish when compared to the other games, the game's other characters. And this is what we were talking about yesterday when I was telling you guys, like, some of the traversal changes I'm hearing about sound fun. They sound like they are what players have been asking for and what we wanted. You're not going to be like too crazy with it. So it's like, I haven't heard that like Hulk is going to be jumping out of the gym or anything like that, but his jumping is supposed to be improved. His running is supposed to be improved. Captain America's jumping and running, or his running at the very least, is supposed to be improved. And the same for Black Panther. And other people are going to get fun changes and tweaks where it makes sense for them as well. And again, the idea behind these changes is making the game more fun for the players who are still here and still hanging around and still want to play these characters. They didn't have that kind of time in recent years, but now they've been dedicating a little more time to going back, making tweaks and changes to things that they didn't have the ability to do so in years prior. Unreleased content. Marvel's Avengers had a wealth of content in various stages of development that will ultimately not see release. These include Patrol Mode, a free roaming mode set in the game's largest map that would see players accepting boss bounties to challenge the title's antagonists in unique encounters, among other smaller objectives. This update would have come alongside join in progress functionality, allowing players to drop in and out of fire teams without interrupting gameplay, a working prototype of which I'm told was in testing last summer. A clash with the famous Marvel villain Ultron was also in the cards, with work dating as far back as early development, where he was once the narrative's primary antagonist. This boss fight would see the friendly NPC robot Roy possessed by a sentient, corrupt AI, with players having to set up beacons in order to extract and trap the foreign consciousness. Several characters were in the pipeline as well, including She-Hulk and Captain Marvel. These two were part of an earlier internal content release schedule that was updated under Wagner's leadership to include heroes like Jane Foster, Shuri, and Ironheart, which could be accomplished on a lower budget by repurposing existing assets. That's tough. That one. Well, like I said, we've talked about it to death over here on this channel, and it's like just a lot of sensible things kind of fell to the wayside in favor of bad, bright ideas. So it's like, hey, we can do this, or why not do this? And it's like, you're doing things that don't ultimately serve a purpose. Like, they're not improving the status of the game. They're not bringing in money for the game. They're not doing anything. But this is what we're pushing go on, instead of doing things that actually move the narrative forward, actually change the status quo, improve, character engagement or player engagement. Nothing like that was done. And then it's like, again, it all falls back to just misguided leadership. You did not have the right leadership in place for a lot of these decisions. So it's like the idea that so much content is being left on the cutting room floor because of just bad decisions. So it's like you forewent people like She-Hulk and Captain Marvel because you wanted to squeeze in people like Jane Foster, Shuri, and Ironheart. Is like that's terrible decision making. That makes no sense. And again, take all of this with some sense of a grain of salt, because again, this isn't official. Miller isn't the official source, and he has sources close to the project, obviously, but at the same time, it's like it's still hard to make heads or tails of what actually was coming to full release behind the scenes, what was always planned, what was planned to move away from, or for whatever reasons. But what we saw last year gave us a pretty good glimpse into how bad things were internally, to just like, we completely went away from operations. And it's like, at the time, I get it, because you're not making any money on that, but your alternative doesn't make any money. So it's like, I get that you can't afford, so you can't get the investment needed. Little Crypty Monster, thank you for becoming an Avenger. But I get that you literally you can't get any money to put a team together to do another full scale operation. I get it. And your alternative was something cheaper and budget friendly that doesn't cost any money, so they greenlit it, but it doesn't make money as well. And it's like, that's misguided. That's that just doesn't make any sense. The fact that nobody, from upper management called that out or anything like that, nobody stopped that before we got there, is crazy. But that's Avengers in a nutshell. I want to join the Avengers. Turn your game on it and run around with them. I guess that's as close as you're gonna get to it, nowadays. That's so crazy how they were talking about this game years ago, and the hype to see how this game came to an end is crazy. It's like, it is what it is. And he wraps up the article with, "Goodbye Avengers. Marvel's Avengers enjoyed a modest but active fan base that kept the struggling live service afloat through its innumerable Innumerable controversies, podcasts, wikis, Discord servers, and subreddits sprung to life and remained active even as players' counts dipped and the game's competitors came and went. Current and former developers I spoke with sang the praises of their coworkers and consistently described a fountain of potential kneecap by inept studio management and Marvel Games bureaucracy. To them and the games community, Avengers meant a lot, and I will remember it fondly. So again, it's like it's all bad. It's like it's always been bad. Like all of the story behind the game, everything about that behind the game is just crazy. They paying us back. All right, what does that mean? Like what do you mean by are they paying you back? This game changed my life during COVID. This was all I had. Like I said, bro, we'll still be able to play it. We'll still be able to, get some runs in and stuff. If that's, like I said, this is a game that I cut on, and just like I don't even play it the way it's intentionally designed. So it's like when I feel like playing the game, but I don't really feel like doing missions or playing with people, I'll go in the harm room and just fight a couple waves of enemies. Got some music playing, and I'll vibe out doing that. So it's like the fact that I'll still be able to do that alone, saying is enough for me. But it's like to know that it wouldn't take much. It wouldn't have taken much to get a lot of the good ideas that they did have brought to the forefront if you had proper planning in place and a proper business model in place. It's like, yeah, that's tough, but I've prepared myself for this scenario for a while now. Like once I saw what was going on, once they communicated that after Jane Foster there was no She-Hulk and they're doing Winter Soldier, and I looked at the timetable of that, that's going to be your end of the year content. Is like it doesn't get brighter from there. Like that's we got too dim. You know what I'm saying? Like you dim the light of hope a lot with that content release schedule. It's like you ultimately did nothing last year. It's like a lot of what you did last year didn't count for anything. Like you didn't move the needle forward or up or anything like that. And it's like that's tough. But it's like I understood what I was seeing. I understood what they were doing and what they couldn't do, and I accepted that. So it's like you do the best that you can, and like I said, I try to be optimistic. I try to maintain an optimistic perspective while also being realistic. So yeah, it would be great if things were to soar a little higher from here, but when you're skipping over Captain Marvel development for, well, let's just do Jane Foster because we can just take resources from Thor, or let's just do Shuri because that's just Black Panther, or Ironheart instead of, War Machine, who already has a concept design and stuff like that. It's like that shows that you don't get it. There's a disconnect between what the game needs, what player wants, and what you're talking about. There's a big disconnect because the game needs one thing, players want something, and then you have to find something in the middle that works for everybody, for the game and the player base. And you went left field. Like you didn't help anybody. You didn't help the game. You didn't help the player base. You didn't help yourself. You did nothing. So it's like that's tough, bro. Like that's a tough one. What am I gonna cover now? Like I said, we've been playing different stuff. So it's like it's a ton of games coming out. We got Marvel Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 coming out, which I'm looking into some stuff about that because I think I might have an angle on what Insomniac's next game is between Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Insomniac Spider-Man and Insomniac's Wolverine. There's a bit of a gap between those, and I think the game that we'll see in between will be similar to what they did with Miles Morales Spider-Man. So it's a smaller game built in the same universe and everything like that. So it's like they're using what's already there, improving on it, scaling things up a bit. It's flexing where they can, but it's not a full scale experience like Spider-Man 2 is going to be. But it'll be similar on a smaller scale. And it's like I think someone has already kind of hinted at that already, and I'm just trying to connect a few more dots before I push go on promoting that story. But if you think about it, you may already be able to piece it together. But I think we might have enough to know to go and push forward on that. But yeah, like I said, I play games, bro. So Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. We're gonna be playing some of that. We're gonna be talking about that, and whatever else catches my fancy. But I got a review coming up for Midnight Suns. Now that I've completed the game and you have an understanding of how things work and everything. Which they got more content coming for that. They got Deadpool dropping. You got Morbius coming. You got Storm coming. So they got new heroes coming to that game as well. It's not really a game I enjoy playing on stream or having people watch because it's not that engaging to watch people walking around talking to different characters and things like that. It's like that's pretty niche, and you guys are more about news updates and just showcasing actual gameplay from the game you came to see. So it's like all of that we'll still be around, but it is what it is. But again, as I said at the top of the stream, Miller isn't an official news source. So he's like the game's unofficial insider. He gives us information well ahead of the official outlets, but he's not an official outlet. So the information he's being fed, that can change. Plans can change around it. So him pushing his article forward today, what's today? Friday. They're at work right now. I'm saying it's almost 2 o'clock here. So the team is at work. They can address this now. They're probably going to have to talk about this and how this affects whatever their plans were. So again, the opportunity to contradict this or ignore this and just go ahead and push forward, where he says they're planning to announce that development is ceasing as early as next week. That could very well be the case, and they can just push forward with that if that's what they originally were planning to do. So next week we could get a blog outlining, hey guys, we got small updates coming, and then that's it. We're gonna wrap this thing up. We appreciate it. Everything we got from you guys. We appreciate you coming from the rounds and support and blah blah blah. But unfortunately, all good things come to an end. Yada yada yada. Developer studio speak. We get it. And again, so it's 50-50. How they move forward from this, because they didn't address his last article, and him pushing move. He's kind of forcing their hand a bit. So it's like if you are planning to do this, he just got out in front of it because that's what he does. He beats you to the punch with what you do. You're free to feel how you feel about that, but that's pretty much been his MO. There's no way that this is true because Casual did a video last week on how the Avengers could be changing things. I still have hope. Me speculating about things doesn't dictate what's actually going on. So this could very well be true. Like I said, I just try to be optimistic. I try to find an optimistic angle in there because I know so many people do genuinely want the game to keep going, and I myself want the game to keep going. I just did a video not too long ago talking about how much wasted potential it would be to stop the project, but if they don't have the ability to keep the project going because you can't keep key people in place on the project. So your animators don't want to be on that project anymore, or your leads don't want to be on that project, or you're having outside problems like the controversy with Brian and stuff like that. So it's like there's no money coming in. People are ready to move on. This game, keep in mind, before this game released in 2020, they were working on it 5 years prior. So there's people on this project who have been working on it for over 5 years. And it's like there was never any clear direction for the game. So you've been kind of just spinning in circles for over 5 years. And it's like nobody wants that at a job. Like if you have a job, you want to be able to go into your job and know exactly what you're doing, what you're getting into every day. Not, hey, I got to go talk to this guy and figure out what's going on today because we never know what's happening from day to day. It's like nobody really wants to work under those kind of conditions. And then, you have, in Miller's article before this, he was talking about how people weren't getting acknowledged at the job. They weren't getting bonuses and things like that. It's like that kills morale. That's not going to make you want to stay on a project where you're not, being recognized for your contributions. You're working hard to get stuff out the door, and then you go get a negative review for the sake of, keeping the budget tight. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, no, you're not going to want to keep working on an Avengers game that's not doing anything for you, financially or career-wise. But again, when we get something official, I will keep you guys updated. As of right now, we got a small update coming around the corner that we're going to check out live. They do have they do drop blogs with the new skin every week. So we'll see what the skin is for next week, and what the blog says and everything. But yes, they do have a history of doing basically nothing when it comes to communication, and that's where Miller's whole opening came from, the fact that they don't communicate much. And he took advantage of that by getting details about what's going on behind the scenes. I see you, Sadat. Now it's in a live game. Sounds about right. What's up, Arian? Like again, guys. If you're just popping in, one, hold your horses, because again, as this news, it comes from a credible source, but not an official source. So if you want to reserve judgment until you hear from the studio themselves, that's 100% fair, and I promote that. Reginald, I see you just popped in, bro. And everybody else who just popped in, make sure to drop the like. That definitely helps support the channel. But Miller has got ahead of the team again and has shed some light on what's going on. So we learned that Brian was indeed let go, and that the studio is allegedly planning to announce the ceasing of development as early as next week, and that a lot of content is on the table or being left on the table. So patrol mode is not going to see the light of day, allegedly, which was going to bring join in progress to the game, which it desperately needs, but we're not going to get that. Ultron is going to be on the, he's still left on the table. So we're never getting a new villain in this game, where that's been out for 3 years. We didn't get a new villain, which sucks. And then several characters. So She-Hulk and Captain Marvel were in the pipeline, and they were put on hold and under Brian's leadership, allegedly, to include heroes like Jane Foster, Shuri, and Ironheart, which could be accomplished on a lower budget by repurposing existing assets. So it's like, why was Brian fired? He had a controversy come out back in, what was that, November? Yeah, I want to say like early November. A lot of his old tweets got resurfaced and dug up, and the studio took swift action. They I guess demoted him. They said he would no longer be a front-facing developer. He wouldn't be able to he wouldn't be allowed to speak up for the company anymore, like speak about what's going on with the game or anything like that. And that has apparently escalated into his removal from the project. So allegedly, we don't know. He unfollowed the studio and removed any relation to the studio from his Twitter profile, and the studio unfollowed him. So that stuff like that is pretty telling, but it is what it is. And it is what it is, as always. But yeah, it's like this, if you've been following this game since launch, none of this really comes as a surprise. It's honestly surprising that it went on as long as it did, because there never was a clear just direction for this game, like what you're doing, what you want to do, what you want to be. Is like they made some great additions to the game. So Black Panther, the War for Wakanda expansion, what is that? The Raid and Spider-Man were great additions to the game that came late 2021. We got Hawkeye in 2021. We got the OLT. We got the Cosmic Cube Monica boss fight. They added a ton of stuff that works for the game narratively, but they didn't make any money from that. So it's like you didn't sell anything, and you worked years to get that in development. So the stuff that rolled out in 2021 was being worked on pre-launch. That stuff was in development well before launch, before the game came to launch, which is why they were able to showcase some of it before the game even launched. So we saw Hawkeye before the game even officially released. We saw Kate Bishop not long after, which we got her before the year ended in 2020. Hawkeye came early 2021, but we saw Black Panther early 2021, and he didn't come until the back half of the year. And then you got Spider-Man, just before that. But just different decisions. Different decisions were just baffling. So it's like you see stuff like, oh, well, we're gonna add loadouts to the UI, but we don't have a plan to implement loadouts. And if you don't put loadouts on the screen, no one's expecting loadouts to roll out soon. You put that there. Someone on the team decided that it needed to be included in the update, so we're gonna overhaul the UI and make sure you put loadouts there. And it's like, right, well, we put that there. You can hover over it, but you can't do anything. That doesn't do anything for you when you hover over that. And it's like, you paid for that. You had to pay for them to do something like that, and that made no sense. So you spent money on something that made no money. Like that did nothing for you or the project. Um, they threw patrol mode on the roadmap. We saw patrol mode, and people were expecting patrol mode. Oh, wasteland patrol. Oh well, we changed the vision for that. We have a new vision for the wasteland patrol, and it's shelved. It's not going. We're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it. And it's like, as you saw with Cloning Lab, which also was promoted and then shelved and just released not too long ago. The whole vision for that changed completely, where we saw some elements of that, like the level design appear in No Rest for the Wicked, but the actual Cloning Lab mission, it was completely overhauled. So what would have ended with a multiple Abomination clone boss fight ended with just a repurposed MODOK boss fight. So it's like they redesigned them a little bit for multiplayer functionality and put them in a little room, and that's it. That's your Cloning Lab boss fight, and there's no clones involved. Like narratively, there are no clones involved. So it's like that whole revision of Cloning Lab was a mess, and that's what they're putting out. That's what's making it to the actual game. That's what's being marketed and promoted. We're doing trailers and stuff for just bad content that wasn't fully thought out, wasn't fully polished, and it's like this is all a symptom of bad management. Like we don't know what to do, and the stuff that we are pushing go on didn't make any sense. And it's like, so to see an article come out talking about goodbye Avengers and Marvel's Avengers has disassembled, you're losing personnel, terrible decision making, no money being made. It's like, where did we think this was going? You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's you cannot function like that. This is a live service game. This isn't just post launch content. Like if this was just like something like Spider-Man or Batman Arkham Knight, where you got the game, we sold the game at retail, we made our money from that, but we also offered things you can purchase in game, like alternate skins or a DLC mission here and there. It's like, that's something else. But when you say you're a live service game, you're going to be around for years, which they signed a contract allegedly for 3 to 5 years. So why you didn't plan your 3 to 5 years out is baffling. You didn't have a team in place. You get what I'm saying, to kind of take the game into the back half of its life. So I understand having a launch team, but if you're going to be there for years, you have to have a team dedicated to that. So either the people who were there, that brought the game to launch, they are either committed to staying on board for the long term, or just whenever, for however long. Or you bring in new people. So during that time, you should have been training up new people to fill out those spots. So once we get to launch, our core team is going over to Tomb Raider or Legacy of Kain, and now the new team is ready to take off. They're trusted. They know the vision. They're capable of doing things. They're capable of actually, launching new heroes and everything without the assistance or the crutch of the original team. They know how to work with the engine. They know how to do everything. And it's like, none of that was done. So to get to year 3 and it's like, well, we got to shut down because we literally don't know what else to do. It's like that's not a major surprise. The haters still going to hate, even if this is like a hater's anniversary or a birthday, bro. Like that's literally all it is. The people who hung around this game, bragging about not playing it, ridiculing people and attacking people and all this other stuff. This is the moment they've waited for, and it's only going to get bigger once the studio themselves corroborate what Miller is saying here. So if they come out and say, hey, we are ceasing development on this game, the hate is going to fly. So it's like, disregard that. How miserable of a person do you have to be to sit around rooting for a game to die? after 3 years. You've been saying it's been dead. The game lived for 3 years. People still can play it. And even then, you'll still be able to play it. You can't go play Marvel Heroes. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know what you're getting out of this. Oh, that person you wanted to come to the game isn't coming, or that skin you were looking for isn't coming, or that content you were looking for isn't coming. All right, bro. Like, games die all the time. It's like, what? Why are you thriving off this? That's what hate does. You get what I'm saying? Like, these people, if they had something better to do in their life, they would be doing it. They wouldn't be hanging around getting joy from a badly managed game dying 3 years later. It's like, that's not the win you think it is. But go off. If that's what you want to do, go off. Have at it, bro. But that don't let that stuff get to you. Just you enjoy the game. They got a new update coming around the corner. See what they talking about. Let's see what they're talking about. Let's see what they have to say officially. They can come out and be like, hey guys, well, you know what, we're gonna do this. I don't anticipate that because I genuinely don't think they have the means to do anything. I was advocating that they give the game a year, so you can just sell. Just all you would have been doing was selling what you have currently, while operating behind the scenes to kind of train a new team of people. Give yourself one more year, like just one more year to get that stuff going. What's up, Bob? How you doing, man? I know you. If you just waking up or something from a nap or something like that, I know you're like, what the hell is going on? A typical day in Avengers, but it is all what it is. I haven't been this disappointed since Paragon shut down. It's like I said, if you've been paying attention, bro, like this shouldn't be as big of a shock as it may seem. And again, it's not official. There's Bob is a content creator for the program, and it's like, yeah, Bob, I knew this was coming. I didn't know he was gonna, I didn't know it was gonna be an article until like yesterday. But I knew he was working on some stuff, and I knew that he was digging into different things behind the scenes about some of the recent events that were going on, and I knew that they based on what we've seen, there's only so much they can do with this stuff. Like there's just no structure there. You have to have certain resources at your disposal to keep a project like this active and keep it going and keep content flowing into it. And it's like you have to have planning, you have to have personnel. This project didn't have that. So it's like if hope and potential and hype was all you needed, Avengers would live forever. But it's like that's not reality. Yeah, it's like we started off last year with the expectation. Like I used to come on stream and tell you guys, like the people who were like, "Oh, Winter Soldier's just going to be an echo and a clone and this, that, and the other." Coming from where we started with this game, there was no reason for the Winter Soldier to be an echo of anybody. There was no reason to, but due to poor money management decisions, it's like you were left in a position where if you want to still do this character, you have to do that. So it's like my stance on all of that changed. So it's like I get it, and my verbiage around that changed. So yes, the people who were calling that out, you really didn't have those claims were invalid at that time because like Hawkeye and Kate Bishop were not clones of each other. But that's the narrative. That's the narrative. So it's like, hey, it is what it is. The game was trash and repetitive. That's been a running, people have been very vocal about that. They don't like the mission content. They don't want to do the things that you tell them to do in the game. And nothing really changed around that. So it's like, are they wrong for saying they don't enjoy your game? No. If you want them to stick around and you want them to enjoy your game, you got to, figure something out around that. And, nothing was really done on that front. They actually doubled down on that stuff. So it's like, like Last Avenger Standing. It's not a great design for mission content. It's like nobody wants to do that. There are people who will do it, but if I did a poll, like, do you play Last Avenger Standing? Majority of people would say no, myself included, because I don't just go into Last Avenger Standing. You can get exotics in there, but nobody, it is too long of a mission with the puzzles and all of that stuff. If it was just waves of enemies, with each floor, that's one thing. If you threw a couple bosses in there, that's another thing. But as it's constructed, as it is designed, no, that's not something most people are looking to engage with. The war zones, can be fun, brief content, but it doesn't give you anything, and this is a looter. You get what I'm saying? So it's like if you're doing something, it should be in the pursuit of gear or loot or something, and you don't. Throwing recolors in missions or something like that, or a chance at a recolor or patterns. Like you put patterns behind mega hives, and then you just made it. You left it with RNG, so there's a chance to get a pattern, which you can play the mega hive missions like 100 times, and you might get two fabrication patterns. That's not great game design, bro. Like, like there's only so much you could do with that. And it's like if someone's saying they're not enjoying that, it's like I'm not gonna say they're the asshole for not enjoying that content. It's like, bro, you might want to give that another pass. Let's see what we can do. Can we remove the puzzle out of there? Do we need puzzles in there? No, we don't. Especially if you're playing it single player. Why is a single player running around with bad AI teammates trying to do puzzles? Like nobody wants to do that. They're not great puzzles. Is stand right here, stand over here, stand right here for this amount of time. We don't need that. Just let us fight. But hey. What's up, some guy? You just joined the stream. Like I said, I'll give you a brief recap, and for anybody else who just hopped in, I appreciate you coming through. Make sure to smash the like; it definitely helps support the channel. And if nothing else, just so you can kind of, just reel it in a little bit. This isn't coming from an official source. This is an unofficial, source for Avengers, who has, proven sources to be close to the project. But again, Miller does not speak for the studio itself. So Marvel's Avengers has disassembled is not coming from the studio themselves. It's coming from a source outside of the studio. He just touched on, confirming that the lead designer was removed from the project and the studio. He touched on how things are ending. So sales of the game digitally will continue until late September. And the traversal update is still coming. And, changes are being made to make the game functional and fun, beyond support, ceasing. So you'll still be able to play with friends. You'll still be able to access skins and things like that. They're just, they're tweaking and tuning all of that stuff now, allegedly. And again, the traversal update will probably be their last big update, in which, who knows? Like I said, we don't know. We don't know what updates are planned, but like I said, I don't anticipate. I was questioning if any big content updates would be coming beyond 2.7 because it just didn't seem that way. And then Miller's article dropped in December, so it's like, yeah, this looks tough. I don't see them really turning things around because they just haven't seemed to be able to figure out how to turn things around. It's like they never could quite grasp what the problem was. But yeah, stuff like Patrol Mode, Join in Progress, Ultron, She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, those kind of, that the content that people were looking forward to is no longer on the table. It's just not going to be a thing. So the people who, were looking for War Machine and She-Hulk and Captain Marvel and Vision and Falcon and Ultron and all that stuff is Doctor Strange and Wanda and stuff like that, and Ant-Man, and you were looking for the game to go until another 5 years and stuff, we got played essentially. But it's like they showed you this. The writing has been on the wall for the longest. Can you still use bot skins and play the operations? So currently, if you go offline, you won't be able to do any of that stuff. But there are changes being made to accommodate that. So once the game does lose service and support, you will be able to access those things. From what I'm hearing and from what Miller is suggesting, they are taking stuff like that into account, and you will be able to have access to operations and content and skins that you purchase and all of that stuff beyond that. Beyond the game losing development. What's up, Greek? How you doing, bro? Oh man, appreciate you rolling through. But yeah, that's pretty much the article. He's just bringing to light some of the things that he's heard recently behind the scenes, and that the studio is allegedly preparing to announce the ceasing of development as early as next week. So, and by next week, that news can come either on Tuesday or on on Thursday, which is when they typically release information. So you'll see that either in a blog or something in a post across their socials. More than likely in a blog though. So it's like the move when I made a video the other day talking about some of the cryptic changes we were seeing, like the unfollowing and separation between Brian Wagner and the studio, and the new official website that dropped earlier this week. It's like what do these changes mean? The website, you can't promote your stuff on Square Enix no more because you're not actually published or by that studio, by that publisher anymore. So getting you off of their site, I saw that coming. I knew that was coming, and it's like you still have some time going. So it's like if you're still posting socials, they're still promoting skins every week. So it's like when you drop a skin, when you drop a blog, you got to have somewhere to send people. So it's like having another site set up to bring people and funnel people over to. It's like I get it. But yeah, it's never a good look with this game. Like I was telling you guys the other day, like this game just couldn't get right. Whenever we get some good news or optimistic news, some here comes something shooting that other leg off. If the game wasn't continuing, they wouldn't make a new website. I mean it's a WordPress website. It's not like they're breaking the bank or investing a ton of money into getting a new website off the ground. And again, they only need the website to just for functionality, and because they are not affiliated, it's not that deep. But like I said, however you want to interpret the news, I can't dictate to you how you should interpret things. Ain't upset, brother. I'm actually here laughing. Yeah, like I said, it's nothing to be upset about. It's like games lose development all the time. If anything, blame Lejeune. That's what I do. I blame Lejeune. He's been laughing at this game for years. It's his fault. It's Lejeune's fault. So just blame Lejeune. That's what sensible people are doing. That's what I do. That website could have been made by a teenager, to be honest. Yeah, it's like it's a little cleaner and less cluttered than the other Square Enix website was, but it's like it is what it is, bro. Like that's pretty much where we are with it. Like it is what it is, and there's always that wiggle room of things to change. They can surprise us. They can like, hey, actually we're releasing we're going with free to play in 2023. So now you can pick up Avengers 100% free, and we're gonna sell content and all of that stuff. Do I expect that? Not really. Is it possible though? Yes. Anything they do from now on, it would have to be geared around generating money, and that's something I've talked about way too much on this channel at this point. But realistically, that's literally what you would have to have going on. It's like you don't have any money, and that's your first issue, and your issue behind that is you don't have personnel. You got to get some personnel on this project. That's the end all be all. There is no game if nobody is there to make the game. There can be no content if no one is behind the scenes making content. And if you're siphoning off the people that you do have on this project because you want Tomb Raider is the focus. So again, it's like Tomb Raider and Avengers and Perfect Dark, they all have a symbiotic relationship where Avengers is being siphoned off from by Tomb Raider and Perfect Dark, so those games can live, and Avengers is just having a slow death. So yeah, one or two developers here, one lead producer here, this, that, and the other, and it's like, hey, you can't live like that if you don't get that treated, if you don't do something about that. It's tough. But casual kills the Justice League. Yeah, I'll kill the Justice League when the game comes out. I will definitely do what I gotta do for Amanda Waller. That lady does not play. Why do you think I'm here to defend Marvel? It deserves way better. Like I said, guys, do not the back and forth and stuff, and the shields and defender stuff is like, bro, let that stuff go, man. It's like it's 2023. It's people got real problems out here. You still sound optimistic, bro. Game over. How am I? That's what I'm saying. Like this community is crazy. Like where in this is optimism? Like, is there a possibility? Just Is it plausible? Is it plausible that what I'm talking about is going to happen? No. That's why I ended with saying it's not going. I don't see this happening. Is it possible though? They can release an article next week, or a blog post next week, contradicting everything Miller said here by saying, "Hey, we actually do have plans for our project, and we have no plans of ceasing development, any of that." And again, we're gonna cover it here on the channel, no matter what they say. But do I see that playing out? Is that what I'm expecting from them? No, because they don't have any. What supports that? Do they have a new team in place? No. Do they have new funding in place? No. I've heard no mention of that. No one behind the scenes is promoting that. The game's biggest insider is not saying that. He's saying the people on the project are telling him it's over. So it's like where something like that would come from, I don't know. But it's the universe. Anything is plausible. Doctor Strange can open up a portal and suck me out of this room right now. Stuff like that is possible, I guess. Anything is possible. Is it going to happen though? Not likely. Not likely. But yeah, it's like I said, being in your feelings about this game is like, one, you'll still be able to play it, and two, arguing with people who are just looking for that kind of engagement and interaction, don't give it to them. If that's what you need to do for Avengers in 2023, a game that supposedly died 3 years ago, and you're still running around doing this stuff, it's like, hey, bro. Do you plan on covering Transformers Reactivated? If that's something you guys are interested in, like whatever you're interested in, I'll talk about. Like that's pretty much how this channel and YouTube works. If you show interest in something I talk about, you'll get more of it. If you show no interest in it, all right, well they weren't interested in that. You get what I'm saying? So it's, you guys kind of dictate the news coverage. I was never, when I started this channel, I didn't start a channel, with the intent of covering Avengers news per se. I just was talking, like my very first video on my channel was speculating about how it was like a hero concept for Spider-Man, like what I expected them to bring over from his prior games and everything, which I got a lot of that stuff right. And I talked about how Wolverine could work in this game and things like that. But the video that took off, my very first video that like really took off, did like over 1,000 views that night, was me talking about those rumors about She-Hulk and Doctor Strange and Loki and Scarlet Witch and all of that stuff. That's what kind of put me on the map. And then it's like, as more news came out when I covered that, people were like, okay, I trust you for the news. I appreciate your approach to the news. So it's like, all right, well, I'll stick with that. There's plenty of gaming news. It's just, I'm not overly invested in most games, so it's like to follow, like following Avengers news is a bit much. So it's like keeping up with what the developers are saying, keeping up with what articles are dropping from like Forbes and stuff like that. Like you kind of you gotta stay on go with this game, and it's like to stay on go with every game that can be a lot. In addition to having a family and a job and just day-to-day life problems and stuff like that, or trying to have time for yourself. So it's like, you got to work out, you got to, eat, you got to, go places and do stuff. It doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room for stuff like that. I'm not, I'm doing podcasts and stuff like that. So it's like, there's only so many hours in a day. And it's like, I try to do what I can. And again, I like Avengers. I'm passionate about Avengers. So it's like, that was easy. It's like, it's kind of like a magnetic pull there. So it's like, I want to see, news for the game. I want to see, cool updates for the game. I want to see this. I want to see that for the game. So it's like, I'm interested in looking for that information because I want it for myself. And then just sharing it with you guys is a bonus because you want to know and you trust that I'll do the due diligence to find out what the hell I'm talking about or what they're talking about. And I'm not just going to, I'm not swerving. I'm not selling you anything or anything like that. It's like, hey, if it is what it is, I'll tell you if it's official or unofficial and all of that good stuff. And, we just move from there. Game shutting down or content being dropped. So when they say that development is going to cease, you're not going to see updates. So there won't be like a 3.0 or a 3.5 or 4.0. You're not going to get stuff like that because those kind of updates are no longer going to be a thing. So small updates that usually come on Tuesdays, those won't be a thing. And you like new skins, all of that stuff will stop. So you're not going to get anything beyond a certain point. So once they, outline a date for when the game will cease development, that's it. So anything new coming to the game will no longer be a thing. That won't be a thing. That will literally just be it. What's up, Nava Flow? How you doing, bro? I bought Avengers after I beat the campaign. I turned it off with the exception of the Hawkeye and Black Panther missions. I don't play it. I'm sad for anyone spending money. And I'm glad you said that, Sean, because you are the exact type of person they should have been focusing on monetizing, because you have been very vocal about what you do and do not like about this game. So you come specifically for the campaign and operations. That's what you get the most enjoyment out of. You don't care about the marketplace. You don't care about the multiplayer. You're not trying to grind for loot and stuff like that. And if I'm on this project and I hear players, so many players like you saying that, okay, I hear you. I'm glad you said that. Now I know how to activate you. I know what to target you with. So when you want new stuff, here you go. You get what I'm saying? So hey, we can do Captain Marvel. You just got to pay for it, because that's how I can monetize that part of the player demographic. The people who really want that stuff, I got you. And the people who want multiplayer stuff, we have to find a way to monetize that as well, without being scummy, without being, just like putting stuff like, in order to get the best gear, you got to pay for this certain, package or bundle or something like that. Don't do stuff like that. That's scummy. And it's like, I think they were trying to avoid doing stuff like that, but at the same time, you went overboard to the point where you're not monetizing anything. Like, it's so easy to take a stand against, the marketplace. You see people doing it all the time and making fun of people for buying stuff in the marketplace. And it's like, I get it, but it's like, and again, this is the same reason why Suicide Squad is in trouble right now, because people saw Battle Pass, people saw Store, and they like, nah, no. Forget that. So you're gonna have people who are going to buy that game, play the campaign, and trash the multiplayer stuff, trash the Battle Pass stuff, trash the store marketplace and all of that stuff. They're not going to interact with that stuff. And if they don't have a way to monetize content beyond launch, beyond retail sales, you're going to see the same kind of article, coming out for Suicide Squad and the Justice League, because you can't do that, bro. You can't have a game that don't make money with a infinite lifespan. Like, that's not how gaming works. The only reason Gotham Knights is still going is there room to improve. Well, I mean, one, you played that, you already bought the game, and there's that. They haven't announced that as a live service game, but they have suggested that more content is coming, and the first content that you just got was free. So they're doing similar stuff. You're getting free updates and stuff. I would imagine they're gonna charge for stuff in the future, but again, it's like I don't know what's going on with game. I have never seen a game launch with a business strategy this bad. Like, mobile games are thriving. So like, what is that, Marvel Strike Force? They just dropped like 3 or 4 characters last month alone. And it's like, that's crazy. I don't play that game. I don't follow that game. This everything I just said, I know strictly from J Shock Blast, my co-host over on the After Show. And it's like, the fact that you can do something like that, and you're charging for all of that content. You have to pay for those heroes. They're not free. There's ways to get them free technically, but it's like, that's a pretty long road, typically. And it's like, again, it's not for me. I'm because it never ends. The carrot is always dangling in front of your face with the Marvel mobile games. Like, there is always a new bundle coming. There is always a new set of heroes and a new meta and a new status quo and all of that stuff that you're gonna have to pay for. So if you played that game, if I haven't played Marvel Future Fight in years, but if I downloaded it and turned it on right now, I'm gonna have a lot of catching up to do, and none of it is gonna be cheap. And it's like, this is why you can't, play. Like, this is why I leave games like that alone, because it's like, I got too much other stuff going on to be dedicating my life to doing the weekly and daily grinds in a video game. And that's what people are complaining about with live service games. They like, I just want to play the game. I don't want to have to do all of this other stuff or pay for certain stuff to be a part of the meta and stuff like that. The meta should be the meta. So I can play Arkham Knight right now and the meta hasn't changed. So when I go into that game, I don't need any gear. I don't need to do anything extra. I don't need to update, or I don't have to do a damn thing. I don't have to find gems or anything like that. I can just play that game, beat up thugs, and that's the game. The game is the game. But games like live service games, like Colonial Lab dropped and you can't just jump straight into that content. That's new content that people have been waiting to try out, but you can't get straight into there unless you're power level 175. And if you didn't do the work to get the 175 prior to it launching, it can take you a while to get there, unless you're Bucky. The only character that doesn't have to deal with that is Bucky, because he has a mission chain where you can shortcut months of grinding into a day. Like, you can compress all of that into a day and get to 175 that day, if after doing this mission chain, which is like 8 steps or something like that, or 7 steps. Super short. Like, it's super doable. I did it on stream, but that's that's the kind of stuff people are complaining about. So it's like, when you drop new content, they want everybody to have access to it. They don't want to have to do anything extra, and that's fine. That's fair. Just make them pay for it. That's my thing. Just make them pay for it. If you're trying to be around for a while, like, you got to pay for that content. And it's like, the people who want the game and who will pay for it, you're suffering because of just poor management. They didn't have the foresight to be like, hey, we got to charge for this kind of stuff. We can't do this kind of stuff for free. But it is what it is. Yeah, it's like, and I know, like, since Miller started dropping these articles, people have really kind of taken a negative stance against him, and it's like, he's really just trying to give you a heads up. It's like, it's twofold. So and this is from personal conversations. It's like, he wants them to kind of shift direction to all right, people heard about our plans. We have a chance. There's a window of chance there to change course on this. We don't have to go forward with that. We haven't said anything officially. We haven't committed to anything officially. We can still change it. That's something he would be okay with being wrong about. You get what I'm saying? Because he, again, before they come with an article telling you that they changed stance on that, he'll come out with something, a tweet or post or something like that, letting you know, hey, I've heard that they actually have, my article forced them to change plans and things like that. He would love to see that. It just doesn't look like that's going to be a thing. And again, he's not selling you the game is ending because he's rooting for it to die or anything like that. Last year, he was a large part of the reason people were still hanging around this game. If you only went by official news, you would have probably heard something like 5 times out of the year, if that, out of a year. For a live service game, you probably would have had 5 real, updates out of a year. And I'm being generous with 5 because I didn't even really count. So it's like, you got something on the 2.3 update with Nick Fury coming back and stuff like that. You got something on the rework with 2.4. You got something with Jane Foster being announced. You got something with 2.6 being announced, and then you got something with the Winter Soldier being announced in 2.7. I mean, that's it. That's your communication. Everything else outside of that was skin promotions. That's it. And it's like, I'm trying not to be overly critical of the project and the studio and things like that, but it's like, they did a lot of things last year that just made no sense. Like, absolutely no sense. Like, you can't make sense of it. Like, there's no way to make sense of it without having actual, even if they explain it. And it's like, that's the crazy thing, because it's like, I've spoken to people on the project and asked them specifically, like, hey, why was this a thing? And the answer doesn't make it better. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you would think, okay, well, whatever they respond with will shed some light, and it's like, okay, well, looking at it from that way, I can make sense of that. It's like, that's not how that goes. And that's why I used to tell you guys, like, even getting the answers on why sometimes don't make things make sense with this game. Seeing so many people on my Twitter turning on Miller when Miller was the reason this community was even in the know about anything Avengers last year. Yeah, it's like, there's people who hate that dude, and it's like, bro, which is, he kind of had, he started to take up for himself a little bit last year, and it's like, I get it, because he really gets a lot of undue hate, because again, you don't have to follow him, you don't have to keep up with his updates or anything like that, but it's like, to just like villainize him and just like be just overly negative with the dude is like, why? Like, for what? Oh, well, I only listen to official news. That's cool. Why do you have to hate Miller though? Like, what does hating him do for you? Like, what does that do? But like I said, I don't get too invested in it either way. Vape, what's up, bro? Vape, we gotta hang out, man. Like I said, I've been playing some Elden Ring. I just got back on Gotham Knights like a couple days ago, and as always, I've been playing Avengers. I just ran a cloning lab with Lejeune this morning, but it's like, yeah, bro, we got to get back in the mix. I hope work has been going well for you, and hope the family has been doing well as well. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to smash that like. It definitely helps. But Vape, I see you just popping in, so I give you a rundown of what was talked about. Miller just touched on some of the stuff he said in his article before this one about the game shutting down and how the situation has. And now in this article, he's talking about how the situation has evolved. So Brian, according to his sources, is no longer a part of the project, and there are no plans to replace him. And the studio is planning to, announce the cease of development as early as next week. They'll still sell the game digitally until about September, and that any major updates planned are primarily just the traversal update, and that they do plan to make it where players will be able to continue playing the game beyond development ceasing, and you will still have access to certain things you paid for and all of that stuff. Patrol mode off the table. Join in progress not going to be a thing. Ultron scrapped, and then you got She-Hulk and Captain Marvel. They're allegedly scrapped, and then Jane Foster. They chose to forego putting work into She-Hulk and Captain Marvel, or bringing them making them fully realized characters in order to pursue doing characters like Jane Foster, Shuri, and Ironheart, because they were able to be done on the lower budget by repurposing existing assets. And it is what it is. Waiting for the announcement from the devs. Got the Knights to say the game has ended. I wouldn't expect that at any time soon. Like I said, that's if you like I said, with stuff like that, is like I just try to relax. Like I don't put any real expectations on them. So like Marvel Spider-Man 2. It's like I don't have a timetable or a frame for them to say what's next for Marvel Spider-Man 2, or give us a new, teaser or a trailer or gameplay footage or anything. When that stuff is ready, they'll drop it. Like I'm not digging and prying for that stuff. If we get something, I'll it actually might be something worth looking into. If you guys would prefer, some updates about Spider-Man 2, or to kind of shift gears in that direction, I can start looking into some stuff about that. Like I said, I only have one story I'm working on with that, but it's like I can do some more on that. This sucks. Yeah, it's like I said, it's nature of the beast at this point. I appreciate your content from Avengers, bro. If you make a stream, I'll always on time, man, brother. Appreciate you. Hey, the bearded one, bro. I appreciate that. And again, like I said, everybody, you cool here, man. Like you good. If you don't like this game and you are like, finally this shit is over, cool. It's whatever. I appreciate you hanging out. Like I said, you didn't have to be positive or pro Avengers to kick it in this space, because I'm not toxic positive. So if you have a criticism of this game, I probably voiced that same criticism. I know people wanted me to like really pound them into the ground about the bugs. I get that, but at the same time, I also get their side of the perspective. So there are certain things they just don't have the capability to do. Like you can't develop, new content and cutscenes and code fix and all of this other stuff, and at the same time fix bugs. There's only so many people on the team. Like QA, you get what I'm saying? Like that's you probably would be surprised by the people who are actually QA on the project, because they just don't have those kind of resources that other studios and other games have access to. I've seen a lot of people, we are QA. You are 100% right, Vape. I'm telling you, like hey, it is what it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand that. Like, it's putting stuff out there. Like, hey, we'll have to release it and get the player feedback, and then try to address what we can. That's their strategy, because again, they just don't have the QA to really do things like that. And also things, kind of interact differently on our end than it does on their end. So it's like on their end, they're playing on dedicated servers, dedicated network, and all that stuff. So it's like you're not having the same networking issues that this game has when you have a guy in like, Brazil trying to play with a guy in California. So it's like you got some different stuff going on over there that you may not typically run into in a controlled, development environment. So that kind of stuff they're not going to learn about or be prepared for until it actually gets into the wild. I just joined. Is the game done or not? So unofficially, yes, they're wrapping things up with Avengers, and they should be announcing that as early as next week. But officially, no, they haven't said anything about the game actually dying. So time will have to tell the truth on that. But it is what it is. Even though the game might end, I'll stay subscribed to your channel for more Marvel related content. I appreciate it, bro. We might later today we might do some more Ultimate Alliance because I think we just finished with the Mandarin on that, so we should be going to see Doctor Strange. I think that's the part of the story we're at. But yeah, like I said, I'll still play other games, and I'm looking to get started on Twitch. I just literally, all I have to do is sit down and figure out my setup on Twitch. That's it. That's all it is. Just setting up my streaming setup, setting up alerts and and notifications and stuff like that. And we can start playing a ton of other stuff. Like I do want to lean more into the streaming side on Twitch. So like just playing other games. When I tell you I have a ton of games that I would love to play that I just don't think would do well on YouTube. So playing them on YouTube might not do overly well, but if you guys are interested in other stuff, so like, I don't know if I want to play Marvel X-Men Legends over on this channel or over on Twitch. I know you guys will probably be interested over here, but you get what I'm saying? It's like, it's playing other stuff like that. So if I want to play something old like Marvel Nemesis or something like that, I can play that over on Twitch if it's not performing well over here. You get what I'm saying? Doom Killer say the game is really ending. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's saying the game is ending. Everybody is going off of what Miller is saying. Like I said, it's not official until it's official. So until Crystal Dynamics themselves promotes a blog post saying this is the end or we're wrapping up development or whatever, it's unofficial news. But time will tell the truth on that. So, like I said, I don't want to. It's always hard to navigate stuff like that. It's always hard to navigate stuff like this because I know people feel like, there are people who really are just like crushed at the sight of that, crushed at the news that, Avengers is wrapping up and we're not going to get this great future that people believed in and this great turnaround. But it's like, halfway through last year, it was like it kind of set in that just wasn't in the cards. And it's like I was worried the game was shut down last year because looking at the updates, like you were doing some pretty small, not so great updates when we came into the year expecting, bigger things. But it's like none of that stuff was planned for. So it's like Jane Foster was a late change that came in 2021. Going into 2022. So Jane Foster wasn't planned. So you deviated from plans. You went away from plans to shoehorn in Jane Foster. And it didn't save time. It didn't make money. There was no purpose in doing that. So it's like you got some hype from, she'll be in the game ahead of the Love and Thunder movie release, but that's it. So you got her out in time for an MCU skin and that's it. But you didn't make any real money from that. And it's like, yeah, Bob, mismanagement at every level. And it's like, it's crazy how that stuff got greenlit. It's like, how do you pose that idea? And the question of how does this make money isn't answered. And if the answer is, we can sell her challenge card, it's like, bro, that is not enough. That's not enough. We'll have an MCU skin for her. That is not enough, bro. This game needs content. This game needs big content. And it's like, I would really want to, just activate that player base, that part of the player base that really focuses on story content and operation content. That is our best seller. That's what we pride ourselves on alongside of our hero combat. So getting new heroes, getting dynamic villains, getting dynamic story content and operations in there, while also working on, like, you kind of need two separate teams. You need an in-game team and you need a a story content team, essentially, to keep this boat floating, and forward and strong, because you can't pull back on story content, because that's what pulled so many people in. The campaign was great. People fell in love with Kamala. This is the best version of Kamala outside of the comics that most people have to hold on to, and it's like, to deliver more stuff like that should have always been the goal. But your hero content is also really, really good. So being able to level people up to level 50 and unlock their full skill tree and see all of these different skill variations that they have and different heroics and stuff, that should have always been a part of the plan. So getting to the point where you gotta, reuse assets and repurpose, heroics and stuff like that, it's just an unfortunate, case of bad management. Like, we didn't have to be this way. What's up, Comic Geek Ron, bro? Very sad news today, unfortunately. Yeah, it's like I said, it's news that we all saw coming, but it's like, hey, I feel like when streamers promote skins, they're also saying it's acceptable content. I mean, that's was one. Like I said, the reason that I stopped, like showcasing them, just throwing. It's not hard, to just throw up a video showing what the new skin is for the week, but that stuff, when it got to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I don't even know that supporting buying, skins in this game, so supporting the marketplace is supporting the game. It's like, well, I don't want to do that anymore. But people who are in the program, that's part of their, relationship with the program. So, hey, we'll give you the skin, you promote the skin on your socials. Like, that's literally all they're doing. Like, that's nothing to demonize there. You get what I'm saying? I don't look at that as a bad thing. It's like, that's literally their agreement. They're just fulfilling their agreement with the studio. The studio gives them access to skins. They promote the skins, and then when they have actual news that they can share with the content creators, they do that. So it's like, that's a small trade off. Like, it's no need to target or demonize people for just doing something simple. Like, that's really all they gave them to do. Like, they don't give them much to do. They really didn't give them much. And then it's like, you got to combat leaks and stuff like that. It's tough. It's that program left a lot to be desired. I'll say that. The program left a lot to be desired. But like, when they expanded the program last year, it's like, okay, what's the point of this? What is this new direction we're taking things? And they just gave people more access to skins. That's it. So it's like, all right. When I found out some bigger name people were a part of the program that might surprise you, and they don't even talk about this game. They haven't covered this game. They don't talk about new characters, heroes, content. They don't talk about this game, but they're in the program. It's like you don't want to change that. Like, hey, we could really benefit from having this person with hundreds of thousands of subscribers talking about our game. And it's like, nobody activated that. Nobody pushed go on that kind of stuff. Like, how, imagine you get, early access to like an early build of a character. So it's like, you can level them up to maybe like level 10 or 20 or something like that. And that you get to showcase that. So you get to play with this character for like a week. You get to, make your videos and stuff like that. You have all of this content ready to go that nobody else has access to. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what the content creator program should have been dedicated to post-launch. Like, you still can do stuff like that post-launch. Like, that's exclusive content. You get what I'm saying? It's like, stuff like that just wasn't a thing. Like, stuff like that wasn't, planned out, or, if it was communicated or asked for it, and I heard that stuff was shut down and stuff like that. Caboose triggers me sometimes. How so? Like, Caboose is cool. Like, he's one of the bigger creators that does, loosely still touch on this game. Like, he'll probably talk about this game dying. He'll probably talk about that. You'll probably see some surprising names come out talking about this game dying. But yeah. CD did one thing right. They brought a bunch of players together from many, many different places. Yeah, it's like the free, making this free, you definitely made it easy to hang around. You definitely made it easy to hang around. And it's like, there's no skin off your back. So I can load this up, try out all this new content for 100% free, trash it, make money on my video, and turn this game off and never think about it again until something else comes up. And it's like, that's the environment you crafted around this game by not making content purchasable. Selling skins should have been the least of their concern, but as always, like I've said that ad nauseum on this channel. Found a lot of awesome people, including you, because of this game. Yeah, 100%, bro. Like the relationships that I've made with people from this game, it's like it goes beyond that. Just having so many people, really just kind of gravitate to me, be willing to rock with me and stuff like that is like, that's cool. I value that far more. Like just getting to meet the developers, getting to meet Miller, getting to meet so many people of the community and stuff like that. Like if you interacted with me before my channel even launched, it's like I was just talking about this game. Like I was just a part of the conversation. That's all. So I'll ask people questions that I thought was interesting, and just to see how other people feel. Like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Like I started off talking to people on Reddit and talking to people on Twitter, and it's like, and joining the Discords and stuff like that. That's literally how I met a lot of people. Like Doom Killer, Sadat, J Shock Blast, Slip Shock, Synchro, King Greek, Lejeune. A lot of these people, like I had no idea that I would fast forward, these are people, who are, peers and friends at this point. Like Hyrule, literally became one of my favorite streamers. And it's just like, I'll watch that dude play anything. And it's like, I know that was something he was struggling with over here on YouTube when he really kind of started branching out away from Avengers, because he's like, man, bro, I can't play and talk about this game every day. And it's like, I get it, but it's like, he just wanted to play something else just for his own, sanity and stuff like that. And it's like, I got it, bro. Like, I just come in there for the conversation. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, people like that, like, I'll watch Lejeune play whatever. I'll watch, on Synchro play whatever. Like, it's the relationships, bro. I can never walk it back. Like, Vaping Gamers was one of the first people who, like I said, he has a Discord. We ended up playing the game. Like, I saw him promoting it on Twitter. I found him on Twitter. He was just asking people, did they want to play the game with him? And I was like, yeah, I'll play the game with you, bro. And that's how we linked up. I found out about his Discord. We chilled out in the Discord and chatted, played some Avengers and stuff like that. He was one of the first people shouting out my channel and things. It's like, bro, like, this community literally is a lot cooler than what people give it credit for. But at the same time, it's like, I understand there are some people who just are committed to making things pretty negative more times than not. And it's like, just like with life, I learned to just navigate around that stuff. But I don't draw too much attention to it. I just, do my thing and go my way. I hope someday we all, haters and lovers alike, can reassemble in a game that satisfies us all. Yeah, it's like, if they can figure out a way to brand and construct Avengers 2 if you come with something like that, and especially if you plan on it being similar to this, you got to come with at least a 5-year plan minimum, a 5-year plan minimum. Look at you got 5 years to look at feedback, because it's going to take at least 5 years to even get that thing off the ground. Look at what you did wrong with this. Learn from your mistakes. Don't go too hard the other way. But it's like, that's a big uphill battle. But you get what I'm saying? It's like you got a starting point. You have a foundation to kind of build from. Go with a better engine. Know exactly what you want that game to be from the jump. Don't go full single player. You get what I'm saying? You have something no other game on the market currently offers. Like, you can't choose between single player and multiplayer in Insomniac Spider-Man. You get what I'm saying? It's simply single player. And this game gives you the choice, but they didn't go far enough with that. So when I want to go single player, I should have the option to, control the members in my strike team. So if I want one AI teammate or two or none, I should have that kind of control. And when I want to play with my friends, you should be able to interact with your friends in the campaign, in the operations, all of that stuff across the board. And that's a unique experience that no other game on the market was currently offering to you like that. No other superhero game specifically. And it's like, as big as superheroes are, like, they're at the peak, they're at the height. to fumble a game like this at the height of fucking superhero fandom is crazy. That is, man, that is crazy. Avengers and Star Wars is the most baffling moves made by Marvel or Disney in recent years. It's like, what? How, bro? How did you mess this up so bad? And when you find out it's just because of a lack of planning, it's like, dude, I can give you, I can give you 3 years worth of ideas right now. You know what I'm saying? A whole studio of people, we could put together a 3 year plan, like a firm 3 year plan. Like, this is what our game is going to be 3 years from now. This is our list of heroes. We're like, this game died from poor planning and poor bright ideas. Like, that's crazy. And it's like, one in War Machine is because he right there, bro. Like, you literally got all the assets in the game to make them. Just make them and sell them. You can change your business model. Just sell them. Just do that. And the Captain Marvel and Kree invasion stuff, that should have always been planned to be an operation. That was for sale. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just give yourself a year to get there. So small heroes, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Finish for this year, you know what I'm saying, War Machine, finish up She-Hulk, and I don't know who the third would be. Go with a surprise, hero edition. That's what I'm saying. For the sake of fun, go with something like Wolverine. Like, I know they would have to talk about licensing again and all of that stuff because they didn't originally include all of that stuff. But it's like, just like a hero event should have been for like Spider-Man being a hero event as an addition to the Avengers team. So it's like, you're not really officially on the team really per se, but you do run with the Avengers. That's cool. All right, Wolverine, you're not really an Avenger, you're not really with the Avengers, but you are a hero in the Marvel universe. This game should have been set in the Marvel universe, not the Avengers universe, because this Avengers universe feels like a fish globe, or a snow globe. Like, you're literally just, we're in one big circle. Like, it seems and sounds vast, but it really isn't. We got one enemy faction, and anybody else that comes in is AIM adjacent. So Abomination works for AIM, Taskmaster works for AIM, Crossbones works for AIM, Claw works for AIM. You get what I'm saying? Any heroes that come around, Spider-Man, he got beef with AIM. Black Panther, he got beef with AIM. Jane Foster, hey, I'm here now. Where's AIM? And it's like Ultron, Hydra. You know what I'm saying? Like, so nobody thought anybody else might be needed, bro. The Raft, like, hey, we got a prison break. That's your in-game content, bro. Like, hey, it's enemies and villains running around the city. We got a prison break over here. Avengers, go get it under control. Cool. Something. What's that guy name? Justin Hammer. You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, Justin Hammer is creating tech. He worked with Crimson Dynamo. You got Russia on the map. You already got the snowy tundras. You get what I'm saying? So it's just, hey, throw Russia over there. We got Crimson Dynamo. You got Titanium Man. Use your assets. The army is after the Hulk. After the events of A-Day, the army was sent in to capture the Hulk. They're like, hey, we are taking the Hulk into custody. Red Hulk. Like, the concept of repurposing assets to make new heroes could have easily been used for villains as well. So instead of Yelena being this ambiguous figure that hovers over the harm room, just go ahead and use assets in the game to make her a villain. Like, okay, Yelena is a villain. Do we need the full team to beat up Yelena? Not really, but, it's something to do. So you're already, like, if you fought Yelena at the end of the Red Room, you're fighting a solo anyway. So you can't play in there with friends. You can't play with a full strike team. It's just one hero. So one hero having to fight Yelena at the end of the event is fine. That's cool. Like, that's literally all you need. So Black Widow taking on her sister in the harm room with, it's red now, and we got different hazards set around the room. You can have other enemies spawning in and stuff like that. Like, you can make that a whole thing. And it's going to be easier given the hero you playing with. So, of course, the Hulk isn't going to be struggling with Yelena. Thor isn't really going to have much of a problem with Yelena. But Captain America, Black Panther, Black Widow, Hawkeye, it's going to be a little more challenging for them. It's going to be a little more fun to play as those heroes. But it's something you can do. It's a new villain. And she only comes when that event comes. That's simple. Like, that's... I keep saying I'm not gonna do this stuff, but it's like it's just so it's like, man, bro. But like I said, that kind of stuff is why we're here. That's literally why we're here. Red Hulk was supposed to be in development allegedly, and those assets got kind of shifted over into the Fire Adaptoid, and it's like, okay, that I guess that makes sense. I guess iconic hero, generic robot. I mean, iconic, villain, anti-hero, whatever. But that's I get it. It's tough choices, coming down in development. You got a little more to factor in than the average player, factors in, and it's like that's cool. Let's all be honest. Nobody in the player base, lover or hater, is to blame. We are all to blame. We are all to blame because we didn't pay for anything that mattered. I'm blaming you specifically because it's your fault. So whether you accept that blame or not is on you, but it's your fault. But seriously, though, it's like it just didn't have to be this. But looking at how things played out, it's like none of this is much of a surprise. It's not coming as a big shock or anything like that. It's literally, let me see, battery dying on me. But yeah, it's like I'm telling you guys, like this is literally where we are. And as I told you, like it's nothing but Avengers dying videos, and it's like, that's what people have been waiting for. This is the moment the world has been waiting for. Avengers dead Avengers game. Avengers died. This, that, and the other, and it's like the haters got what they want. No new content for Gotham Knights game. All right. If you're asking me, I don't know. I haven't been following Gotham Knights content like that. Avengers broke people when they saw. No, people. Like I said, people have been wanting this game to die just for the people who enjoy it. They're glorifying and relishing in your disappointment. So you being disappointment is what's giving them life right now, and it's like that's fine. That's cool. And again, it's like it is what it is. I said that like 32 times on this stream alone, but yeah, on a different note, that new Kate Bishop skin is nice. Yeah, it's like why it's so baffling, bro. The skins get better as it's wrapping up. Like that's baffling. And still, you're not putting as much effort into certain skins as you could have and should have, but that's where we at with it. I was playing last night and I'm just getting started. This play is awesome. I've been here since launch. I will always play this game. Yeah, like I said, I'll always turn the game on and play. But new content don't look to be a thing. So join in progress. Not going to be a thing. Even though that would greatly help stuff, it's like they probably just can't justify it. You lost some integral pieces to the team, and that stuff is hard to replace. That's tough. I feel like if traversal is the last thing, then I guess for me to be satisfied with the end of Avengers if they finish the year. Like I said, if from what we're hearing is just going to be small updates. So little tweaks and changes to hero functionality across the board. So how they move, how they play, what damage they do, but like gear, all of that stuff is no longer going to be a thing. They're not going to be updating this. But like I said, we definitely had a good run, and for the people who are holding out to the very end, this isn't official. So this isn't official. You look kind of sad. Nah, I'm chilling, bro. I'm just like I said, I'm tired of having the same conversation. Like that's really what it is. It's like it's crazy that stuff played out like this, and the answer seemed so obvious on the outside, and for whatever reason it eluded the people actually on the project. But that's what happened in gaming. Like, everybody isn't the same. Gaming isn't the same across the board, which is why certain studios get touted a little higher than other people. So, like, Insomniac is praised endlessly until they show something with a battle pass on that, and then people are going to switch up on them. But you get it. Like, right now, Insomniac can do no wrong. Rocksteady could do no wrong, a couple days ago, and then that image leaked, and now they can do wrong. Either way, Kaz, we're gonna support you no matter what you cover. Yeah, but like I said, we're not slowing down over here. We got it. Like I said, we still got Avengers news to cover. Like I said, you got an update coming on Tuesday, and until the studio comes forward and says what their actual plans are, business as usual over here. But again, Miller does know his stuff. He does have sources close to the project, and yeah, it is. And again, ending doesn't mean it just means development. So you can still play this game. You'll still have access to the heroes available. If you're on PlayStation, you got what, 12 people? Yeah, 12 people to choose from. If you're on Xbox and PC, you got 11 people to choose from. And that's just it. It's like I can make an entire video just listing off everything they did wrong. But it's like we've literally been doing that, since the game launched. It's like that explains, that paints the picture of goodbye Avengers. Like, that's what led us here. Just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. At some point, you're running out of rope. You just ran out of rope. There's goodwill is only gonna get you so far, and that's the nature of it. Let's see what happens next week in blog post or dev stream. You definitely not getting a dev stream next week. I can tell you that straight up. I can tell you that straight up right now. Like, no dev stream is rolling out, especially with this coming out. Like, they don't like that. They don't like dealing with stuff like this. They don't like dealing with this kind of news. So, like, if Miller's article had came out before we got that dev stream ahead of Winter Soldier's release, that would have been super short. They probably would have did something similar to what they did with Jane Foster, where they just did a pre-recorded war table, and that's it. So they're not interacting with you at all. They're not out there to interact with you. They're not taking questions. They're not moderating that chat. They are not going to put themselves in that position to deal with the community at this point. And now, what's today? Friday. So when they again, Tuesday, you got an update coming. They may drop some patch notes. They may not drop some patch notes. We'll see. Wednesday, when they promote the new skin, when you look under the post, you're going to see it. You're going to see nothing but people under that post talking about, hey, is the game dying? Why are you selling skins if the game is dying and stuff like that? Which, again, the word has been on the street that the game is dying or, sunsetting for a while, which, again, is like, I can't tell you in good conscience to go buy skins in a game where I don't know where your money is going. So buying the skin meant supporting the game or the game possibly having a future, cool. Don't look to be that way, so you won't see me saying like, hey, go grab the latest Kate Bishop skin or go grab this skin because I don't know where your money is going. And I doubt it's going to Avengers at this point. But, that's just me. As a community, we have to take some responsibility for the way some of these games are generally received by the community. Like I said, I mean, I just play the games. This was a game that was fun. There was a stretch when I was bored with it, like before I became a content creator. So like when I was working and I would get home from work, I would, I used to play this like at lunch. So it launched back in September. By January, I was pretty bored, and then it's like, there's not much coming around. Like the mission content wasn't great, so it's like I don't enjoy running around, doing the missions and stuff like that. So it's like I literally would turn the game on, like, all right, well, I haven't played this in a while, and it's like, but what am I going to do? And then I would turn it off because it's like I don't want to do the stuff that's available to do in the game. So it's like, and this is before the OLT, this is before the raid, this is before the Monica mission and stuff like that. It's like I just didn't I didn't want to do the stuff. The halves, I didn't want to do that stuff. Last Avenger Standing, didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do most of that stuff. And it's like, if like for some reason, whenever I do not play with Kamala outside of probably testing her out in the harm room every now and then, or doing her challenges for events. But if I want to play with Kamala, I will always restart the campaign just to do that. Like, I don't just pick her up and go do multiplayer missions or anything like that. I, for some reason, am wired to just play the campaign with her. So I can play with her and run around the city with her, just fine. But it's like, beyond that, it's like, yeah, I'm all right on this, bro. Like, I'm all right. And it's like, it's refreshing to go back and play the campaigns, but it's like, it's also sad because it's like, this should have been the foundation of the game. Like, this should have always been the plan, to deliver more of this. And the idea that you can do this without actually making money from it was crazy. Miller just posted, yeah, he's talking about data mine in this next update. It's like, it is what it is. I see LeJune wilding, and hey, it is what it is, guys. Like I said, what's today? Friday. I got a podcast tonight, so I might be able. Like I said, we'll be live tomorrow. We'll be live probably Sunday and all of that stuff. I'll try. I might do a traditional video today, doing a quick breakdown of this article for the people who didn't pop into the stream. But like I said, you guys know the vibes over here. But as always, I appreciate you guys beyond belief, man. And again, this isn't official. That's if you want to take anything else from this article, it's not official. This isn't an official Crystal Dynamics article. So if you're down in the dumps, Crystal Dynamics can tell you some good news in a blog post or something, or a social media post at some point. If you want to reserve judgment until you hear official news, feel free to do that. I advise you to do that. And again, whatever they say officially, I'll cover it here on the channel as well. So I will keep you guys updated, one way or the other. But as of right now, in light of this new news, we're still pushing forward, normally. So this upcoming Tuesday, we'll be live. I'll be live bright and early so we can check out the new update and just see what was fixed, if gear was fixed and all of that stuff, and if any other changes or something like that. I know Miller is going to be data mining the update, so I'll be live covering whatever he uncovers from behind the scenes in the game. So if he finds some concept art, or you get what I'm saying, whatever new skins he promotes and stuff like that, I'll give you guys a glimpse of all of that live here on the channel. So until they say yes, we're done, and the game actually gets to the last update and everything, we business as usual. We're just going to expand the business, that's all. So playing other games, talking about other games. I talked about other games on the channel. We just got to talking about Suicide Squad, which I'm going to talk about more. We'll be covering Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man 2. We'll be covering the Wolverine when that gets closer to release and stuff like that. Like, there's other games. Gaming goes on. I'm a casual gamer, so we will do it. Midnight Suns, got a review coming for that. I want to go back and do a review for Gotham Knights, because I have some thoughts on that as well. It's all about just making time. And like I said, Avengers, just consumes so much of so much of my time and dedication. But as always, like I said, I appreciate you guys. Have I played Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed? No, I didn't. I saw some people stream that. I didn't play it myself though. Depressing news if it's official, but great stream cast. Yeah, like I said, bro, take it with a grain of salt. It's not official. They can contradict this if that's what they intend to do. I'm pretty sure they're having conversations about this article right now. I'm pretty sure there are some messages and some Slack conversations going around right now. But until we make it back around again, I'll let you guys know, what it is. If something pops off tonight, if I hear something tonight, I'll come back tonight and let you guys know we'll definitely be, you're going to hear me talk about it more. If you want to check out the After Show podcast tonight over on Sadat's channel, yeah, I'll be live over there tonight talking about it with him and Jay Shockblast. So, this is going to be dominating the conversation probably for this weekend. So, you'll get your round the clock news on that. We might even try to get Miller on the show tonight. Let me see. I'll see if we can get Miller on the show tonight. If he can, if Miller can make an appearance, definitely check out the after show tonight. If not, I'll try to set something up with him probably for like Saturday or Sunday. If I can get Miller, on stream to just kind of talk about what he's heard, what he knows, and things like that, I'll set that up for you guys. So either on the after show or over here on the channel, we'll figure it out. But I think the devs probably laughing at this. Probably for different reasons than you may think. I'll say that. So probably for a couple different reasons than you may think. But, who knows? Who knows? But, hey. But again, I appreciate you guys to death, man. Like, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys saying you'll continue to rock with me. Definitely, man, it definitely helps. And it definitely keeps me motivated. I appreciate everyone who drops a like and all of that stuff. So keep it locked. I will definitely keep you guys updated as I get news. And we will chop it up later. Peace.